Hi, I'm Luke Ollett, author of Finding Zoe Through Her Art, a son's journey to get to know his dead mother through the art she left behind. The first chapter in the book is the Luke chapter, and I wanted to set the stage for the rest of the book to come, but as you will find out with many of these chapters, there was a lot more behind the story that I didn't put into the book just because it wasn't good read. So this all started about 4 years ago in 2016 when I I was in Chile and I was on a long 14-hour car ride coming from the south. And I decided it was time to write a letter to my mom. I thought it would be a good way for me to connect with her. She died when I was 18, and at the time I ignored it. I did my own thing. The funeral came and went. It was intense. I knew I was supposed to be emotional, but I chose to live my own life instead of remembering hers. So on this car ride, I wrote a letter that I want to read now because it sets the stage for the rest of the book. Dear Zoe Alexandra Payne, I was recently told that I have not properly mourned your death. Considering it has been 14 years, maybe it is about time I start trying to figure that out. I guess the way in which Dad and I tried to spread your ashes doesn't count towards mourning. Trust me. In our heads, it seemed monumental to spread your ashes in the hills above Simi Valley, where you had spent so much time. But Dad got tired, so we barely got up the first 100 meters of Rocky Peak. And when the urn merely cracked instead of exploding, and the ashes barely fell out instead of flying majestically through the air, we could only think that you were watching and laughing hysterically. But I digress. I was only 18 when you died. I was just beginning to figure out for myself who I was as a human. I realize now that the Luke you had to deal with was nothing like the Luke that I am today. And there is no doubt in my mind that we would get along like a house on fire. I've been told a number of times in recent years by the people that probably knew you better than I ever did that I am definitely your son. By the things I do, the way I do them, the people I meet. There's so much I wish I could share with you. My beautiful wife, now ex, how I learned a language, how I want to learn more. I wish you could have taken my golden retriever before I came back to Chile. Where I've traveled and lived. I want to travel more than you. I like making things out of wood. I had a cat with 7 toes. I raced bikes. So much to tell you. Sadly, I sometimes forget your voice, or your smile, or struggle to remember when we last touched each other. And I feel like a horrible person for that. But life has a pleasant way of reminding me that you will live on indefinitely in high-def clarity. My friend Brian messaged me the other day explaining just how amazing it is that 26 years later that your lion picture is being admired and used for texture and study and illustrations of the latest Ice Age movie. Oh, or how your friend Denise got a hold of Roz and wanted to give me a picture that you had given her when you were living with Jeff. And she went on to talk about that time of life and how impressive you were as a person and gave me a new window to see you through. But most importantly, you will forever live on in my sense of adventure, my brown eyes, and my belief that there's so much more to this world. I wish I hadn't been the naive teenager who chose not to care more during those last difficult years of your life. I don't know what I would have done or could have done, but when you decided that life wasn't just hard, but impossible, I wish I would have been there for you, with you. I wish I wasn't such a jerk. You might remember the last words I said to you a week before you left. Wait, Luke, before you go, what do you think about my new walker? As you leaned on it with one hand and waved over it with the other. Pathetic is all I could say while I looked you up and down and I jumped on my motorcycle in a rush to get back to university and the new life I was living. I didn't even think twice what I might have just done. I want you to know that I would do anything to erase that moment from existence, to replace it with me looking you up and down, walking over and giving you a big hug and a smile and telling you that I love you. A week later, you left us. I want you to know that I love you and I appreciate everything you gave me and did for me. And I want you to know that you were and are and always will be one of the most important influences in my universe. Love, Luke. So I wrote that letter, and then a few months later, I was invited to a show called Taboo Tales in LA, where people get on stage and speak in front of a crowd and, in a humorous way, tell you a taboo about themselves. And I loved it. It was really good. It was a great show. And at the end, I was thinking to myself, what could my taboo be? And it occurred I ended up coming up with the idea that, man, my taboo is I'm going to take my dead mother's art and try and make a whole bunch of money out of it. So I submitted a letter to Taboo Tales with a few revisions to include the letter I just read, with a few revisions saying how, and also I'm going to take all your art and try and make money. So thanks for working hard. And I thought that was going to be my taboo. They loved it, Taboo Tales. The Taboo Tales people got back to me and said they liked it, but they didn't like the letter format, and ultimately they didn't accept it. So I got an immediate reaction. Fuck you, Taboo Tales. I can sell these prints anyways. So I started taking pictures of the pictures I did have, put them on an easel, take some pictures, and I thought I could sell the prints and put them on coffee mugs or t-shirts. I don't know. The picture process doesn't work very well. The quality doesn't come out. And somebody told me, really what you need to do is you got to scan the picture. So I got in touch with the art printer in LA and worked with Amanda and Andrew and Sylvia and team, and it was amazing. They really brought the pictures to a level of quality that you see in this book now. And I tried to sell the prints again. Still didn't have a lot of luck. It's not easy just selling a piece of paper for a lot of money that people don't really want to spend. But maybe they could spend it if they knew, if there's a story to it. So that's where this book comes from, and is to try and put the stories to those pictures. And also, I thought a book might be an easier purchase than an expensive print. So that is the behind the scenes of the Luke chapter. And again, I want to thank you for supporting this Kickstarter and joining me on my journey.